channel, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andy, sometimes Mouse. I talk about books and book-related things, and normally I don't look like this for a video that I would consider a sit-down video, but that's because it's not quite a sit-down video. It is one of those videos where I read a specific set of books and then tell you about it as I'm reading them. And today, it is going to be my most hated books of all time. I will be rereading them. Because I hate myself? I don't know. Someone was like, why would you do this? I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know, man. It was an idea, and I thought it was a good idea. It was an interesting idea. I'm curious to see, you know, like some of these books I read in 2019. Like, will I still hate them? I don't know. Stay tuned. Do I even remember the plot of most of these? No. No, I don't. So what I'm going to be reading today for this video, we are starting with The Silent Patient, which is literally my most hated book that I've ever read in my entire life. I despised this book. It was the first audiobook I've ever returned on Audible. I didn't even know you could return books on Audible, but I was like, I need to figure out how because I hate this book so much. My friends used to not be able to talk to me about it because I would just go on such a rant about it. I don't 100%, I think I just really hated the way that the twist worked, and I really hated the way that the author wrote about women, if I remember correctly. But the plan today is to start and finish that. I will try to update you guys at like 25, 50, 75, and 100%. That's the plan on that. I did go ahead and start this one yesterday, The Shadow in the Glass by J.J. Harwood. I disliked this book because our main character is insufferable. I did go ahead and start this yesterday. Like I said, I got 30% into it. And our main character is insufferable. She meets this demon and is given 7 wishes, or fairy, I don't know, is given 7 wishes. And if she uses all 7, then the fairy lady gets her soul. Okay? She doesn't necessarily think that this is real, so her first wish is for a pair of really pretty shoes. I would have wished for, like, the most ridiculous thing in the whole world. But anyway, her wish is granted. She finds the shoes. Wow, incredible. She's currently a servant in this house where the man of the house, the lord of the house, is assaulting the staff. And when they get pregnant, they get sent away. And she's 17, so she's probably next. But she used to be a well-beloved person in this house, and now she's just a lowly servant. She could do so many things with her wishes, and thus far they are stupid. Her second wish was she wished for the person who's been the other servant who's been bullying her to just stop, and then she died. The servant Lizzie died, which is then our main character Eleanor. She finds out that the wishes come with consequences like death. So the first wish, a canary died. Canary died. The second wish, the actual person died that she was making a wish about. So now she's like, I'm not gonna make any more wishes. Okay. The lord of the house is still pursuing her. They're down more staff, so they have to work more. And so things are just not looking good for our main character. She is naive. Extremely naive, extremely innocent. She like goes outside and is like, outside, they're scary poor people. Like, she's not poor people. It's it's something. It's definitely something. So today I'm gonna try to get 50% into that, and then I will update you when I do that. So that's gonna be it. I will check back in later. Hey, how y'all doing? Do y'all know the TikTok sound? That's how I feel right now. So I didn't update at all when I was reading The Silent Patient, and then I didn't update at all on Thursday. It's been 2 days since I talked to you guys. Here's what happened. Yesterday, okay, so I was like going through The Silent Patient, but I was multitasking, and I was doing stuff for work, and so I just didn't have time to stop and update. And then Thursday, I finished it, and I was like, well, I'll update real quick. I didn't. The update for Date Everything came out, and so any free second that I got at work, I was playing Date Everything, because I wasn't able to finish that game because I had a bug that made it unplayable, and they finally patched that. So I had no motivation to read. So anyway, I did finish The Silent Patient. Here's what I think. It is an extremely consumable book. However, from the jump, you know that the psychiatrist involved, psychotherapist involved, is a bad person, and that makes the book very hard to read. Also, our female character is stupid. She's stupid, and it makes her very annoying to read. Like, stupid and naive, and it makes her incredibly frustrating to read. The ending was stupid, and all of the supporting characters are male. There's like a couple of female characters, and they all feel stupid. And I think before I knew more about my tastes in books, I didn't know that this was something that pissed me off in books. So when I initially read it, I just was like, the ending was stupid. I hated that the focus was on the male character, and I didn't know it was going to be on the male character, because the plot summary makes it seem like that's not going to be the case, which I stand by that. But I think now it's not so much the issues that the main character is the psychotherapist and not actually this person who committed a crime. My issue is that the writing of the women in this book feels so flat, and they feel so stupid and naive, and I find it frustrating to read such one-dimensional women, you know? Like, it feels like the author has never actually met an interesting woman in his life, and maybe he hasn't. I don't know this guy's life, right? So I do think my rating initially was 2 stars. Let's compile it together, because let's do that. Let's see, characters I would give a 3. Atmosphere I'm gonna give a 6. Writing I'm gonna give a 6. Plot I'll give a 7, and intrigue I'll give a 6. Logic I'm gonna give a 2, because nobody would have let that therapist do any of that. And my enjoyment I'm gonna give a 2, which takes us to 4.57, which is a total of 2 stars. Okay, cool. Next up, we're talking about The Shadow in the Glass. I'm DNFing it. I don't want to read this book. The main character is just fucking insufferable. She's boring, and I don't care about her. That's it. She's boring, and I don't care about her. Don't I have an option for DNFing? Yeah, so characters, a 1. Atmosphere, a 2. Writing, a 1, because the way that we're talking about things seems stupid. Plot would be a 6. Intrigue would be a 5. Logic's gonna be a 5. My enjoyment's gonna be a 1. It's a 2-star rating. Who's shocked? Yeah, I just don't want to read it anymore, y'all. It's just not good. That's where I'm at on that. We're gonna update these things appropriately and call it a day. Today, I don't know what my plan even was for today, reading wise. Let's see. Today I'm going to try to finish The Turnout, which is that book about ballerinas. I started it yesterday and I already am not having fun, but I'm going to try to finish that today. And then I'm also going to try and get 25% into The Hunting Wives. I think that's the only other one I have to read with my eyes. Yeah, I'm going to try to get 25% into The Hunting Wives. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm going to try, okay? We're gonna try. That does mean that we're ahead slightly. I'm so not having fun with this. Why did I decide to do this? But anyway, I'm gonna go so that I can start working on this and continue to be miserable. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Mega quick update on The Turnout. I still hate it. And for the exact same reasons I hated it upon my initial read. I don't like over-sexualization of ballet. It makes me irritated. It genuinely just pisses me off. Sorry about the lighting. It's a weird time for me to be updating. It genuinely just pisses me off because I think it is a sport that is overly sexualized to the detriment of the people participating. I think that it leads to abuse, and it pisses me off. And this book just perpetuates that narrative. Also, I'm sorry, but it's very cliche for an adult ballet book to also center around the Nutcracker season. You could have picked like any other ballet. I know that's like very pretentious of me to say, but if you were gonna write a book about ballet, you could have picked any other performance piece. I don't know. That's just me. I find our main characters annoying and insufferable, which I think is the point. Like, I think they're supposed to be annoying and insufferable, from what I remember initially having read it. And the plot is very slow. Like, nothing seems to really be happening other than some very questionable sexual behavior that is just pissing me off. So I'm going to take a break here because I am officially 50% in, and I'm going to start The Hunting Wives because I'm going to read that with my eyes, and that way I can edit and read at the same time. I don't look forward to reading The Hunting Wives, but here we are. So I'll check back in later. Okay. Hi, I have thoughts. I'm 25% into Hunting Wives, and I have thoughts. I understand why I rated this book so lowly. Because also, there's some things I'm catching because I'm reading with my eyes, and when I initially read this the first time I read it as an audiobook. So some things that I'm catching. First off, the writing is bad. So there's a line. So I'm a stickler for this, personally. And this could be grammatically correct. I don't care. It doesn't flow well. There's a line early on that says the backyard is even vaster. Blah, 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 blah. Even more vast would have been a better way to word that. I know, nitpicky, right? There are also several paragraphs that are like one sentence because the sentences are so long. It is overtly descriptive. Why are you giving me these women's addresses? I don't care. So if you don't know the plot of The Hunting Wives, lucky you. Our main character, whose name I can't think of right now, moves to suburban, like, Dallas, Houston, I don't know. And rich. They're rich. And probably Houston, maybe Dallas, I don't know. And she's like always seeking the next thing. Like she needs therapy. She's chronically bored. She needs therapy. She continues to get life handed to her on a silver platter, whatever she wants, and she doesn't like it. So, like, they lived the city life, they were doing all of these fun things, her and her husband Graham, then she got pregnant, had her son, and then she was like, I don't like the city life anymore, I want to go live in suburbia. And now she's like, is this going to be my life forever? I'm so bored, I hate it here. Girl, go to therapy. You can afford it, so go do it. She meets these socialites, who do a lot of charity work and stuff. Feels very a la Real Housewives of Dallas. If you've seen that, feels really like that, which is fine, except that they immediately invite her to this Friday night out, first time, and they're like dragging her into their weirdo behavior. Margot is like their leader, and Margot is also a woman that our main character has just been casually stalking online since before she even moved to suburbia. Okay, sure, bestie, that's totally normal and fine. You should do that for sure. Yeah, don't like it. Do not like that. So then they're out at a bar because they like to do this thing where the socialite women like to do this thing where they only give like their first names, and they don't go all the way with these boys at bars and whatever. Cool. Explicitly states that Margot has a thing for underage boys. Right. Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay. Great. Yeah, so that's what's happening in this book right now, and I can't fucking stand it. It's making me insane. I hate this shit. I think it is awful. I think that this concept is fucking horrendous. Yeah, I think this concept is fucking horrendous. I think it's just bad. It's just so bad, y'all. I don't know what else to say. But this is, oh, why are these rich women getting with minors? They could all go to therapy or just divorce their husbands. We don't have to do all of this. Okay, anyway, our main character is insane. She needs to go to excessive therapy because she's like stalking a woman online and then becomes part of her inner societal circle. So that's a red flag. And she's like bored with her life. So she changes things constantly and treats her very, very kind husband horribly, and she should do better. And then also, why is Margot fucking the football players from a high school 2 towns over? Huh? Ah, icky! Why do we make a Netflix special out of this? Gross. Okay, disregard that I looked over a nice shower on my lunch break. Okay. I just finished The Turnout by Megan Abbott. Let's pile this bitch together, shall we? Spoiler, I hated this book. Let's see. Characters, I give a 2. Atmosphere, I give a 1 for the reasons I mentioned previously about using the Nutcracker feeling like a cop-out. Writing, I'm gonna give a 3. It was fine. Plot, I'm gonna give a 2. It wasn't very... like, it was stupid. The plot was stupid. Okay. Intrigue, I'm giving it a 2 for previously mentioned reasons. For logic, you get a 5, and my enjoyment is a 1, because I didn't. So, that's a 1 star. That's a 1 star rating. Here's the thing. Like I've said prior, I didn't like the sexualization of ballet. This is a pet peeve of mine. I find that very insufferable. I also find it mildly unacceptable. Okay? Second thing. There's an incest subplot of this book that, quite frankly, or not incest, but like child, you know, quite frankly, unnecessary. It diminishes the rest of the entire plot and what's going on with like this weirdo contractor and all of that. It just diminishes its entire plot and makes it feel like there was no point in reading it. It creates a double plot that just, it feels stupid. Feels stupid. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So that's it for today. I will update you guys. I'm going to read The Hunting Wives over the weekend. And so I will update you guys as I read that over the weekend. I do have weekend plans. You may not see me again until Monday, but if I read over the weekend, I will update you as I read The Hunting Wives. Stay tuned. So far, I am not having a good time, though. Hello, hi. It's been a minute. It's been a couple of days. I did not read over the weekend. I mean, I did, but I didn't read for this because I just didn't want to. Quick update. I am 50% into The Magicians. I'm 50% into The Magicians. I'm gonna get 50% into The Hunting Wives in a little bit, but I'm 50% into The Magicians. I have thoughts. Here's the thing. This book would be really, really good. It legitimately has the bones to be a really incredible book. I understand why they made a TV show out of it. Genuinely, I get it. Unlike The Hunting Wives. However, our main character, Quentin, is one of the worst people in the whole world. And you are reading this book from his point of view, and I want to rip my eyeballs out. He is sexist. He is misogynistic. He is insufferable. He's just the most insufferable male character. The way he talks about the women in his life, disgusting. The author should go to jail. Yeah, fucking weird. There's a lot of references to Narnia and Harry Potter, like loosely, without actually being directly referenced. And yeah, it's I wish. The other thing is the chapters are obscenely fucking long. They're like, for audiobook time, one chapter was 90 minutes long. The next chapter I have to read is 40 minutes long. What are we doing? Why are these chapters so long? Who is this benefiting? No reason. Also, like, the plot interest doesn't really start until 25% in, and then we immediately go back into inane school activity conversations. Like, this crazy fucking thing happens, and then we go back to normal school activities. If you don't know, the plot of The Magicians is like this adult guy goes to essentially Harry Potter. It's like Harry Potter, but college-aged, and eventually they go to like Narnia, but college-aged. Okay? That's the plot, really. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, this guy just stole these things and stuck them together. The concepts of the magics and stuff, it's all very cool. It could be a great book. Why am I'm hearing way too much about these like activities and classes and shit that do not matter. And again, we have this really interesting thing that happens and then we just like carry on like it didn't. And I'm struggling with that a little bit. So yeah, I hate that if this was just written slightly differently, like more well balanced, then I would have liked it better. I could probably overlook our insufferable main character, or vice versa. If our insufferable main character was less insufferable, I could probably overlook that. However, honestly, as I'm reading it, I'm like, ooh, I kind of would like to read the next 2 books at some point in my life, because I forgot how cool this world is, but it's rough out here. Somebody that I follow on Goodreads said a Muggle-born Draco Malfoy who grew up reading about Narnia learns that magic is real, and Narnia might be too. Yeah, that is what this book feels like. The pacing is just okay. The pacing is also weird because like nothing is happening, and yet also by half of the book they're done with school. Or they're about to be done with school. Like all 4 years. Or 2 years are about to be done. I don't know, 4 years? Yeah, 4 years. He's about to graduate. 4 or 5 years, whatever. He's about to graduate. Yeah, the next chapter is literally called graduation. 50%. That's so fast. And yet also, nothing feels like it's happening. We've got a lot of grounds for interesting things to happen, but nothing feels like it's happening. But it looks like people rate the 2nd and 3rd book higher, so I don't know. I might read it one day, but right now it's rough out here. Oh, okay. This is gonna be it. I have to eat or I'm going to lose my mind, but I'm gonna eat and read The Hunting Wives before I have to get into some work meetings, and then I will update you guys after those meetings. Okay, bye. I hate this book so much. The Hunting Wives is so bad. I don't know. I don't know how this became a Netflix special when the topics in it are so bad. Our main character's crush sleeps with minors. She's about to sleep with a minor, even though she has a very loving husband who supports her and wants to be there for her and whatever. She's such an ungrateful little bitch. I can't, because she could, there's so many things she could be doing here that is not this, and yet here we fucking are, I guess. I can't. I just, so yeah, I can't. Our main character is like this close to sleeping with a minor. I'm pretty sure this little friend group of hers has drugged her at least one time, maybe twice, where she doesn't remember the night. She keeps coming home at like 3 a.m. and her husband's like, hey bestie, where the fuck are you? No, I'm trying not to be mad, but it's difficult. I'm a little mad, which is completely reasonable. Honestly, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah, it's just like a horrible book. It's a horrible book and I don't want to read it anymore. But I'm going to continue to read it, honestly, because I would rather be reading The Magicians, which is a weird position to put me in. I'm going to continue to read it though, because I need to edit this video that you're currently watching. I need to edit it. So I'm going to continue to read while I edit. I don't want to read this anymore. I want to be done. I'm so close to done. I have one more book after these 2 books. I just have one more book and it is 4 hours long as an audiobook. I'm so close to being done. Why did I decide to do this? This is awful. I'm having an awful time. Weirdly, the book I hated the most currently, right now, right below The Magicians. The Magicians, and then The Silent Patient, and then The Turnout, and then The Hunting Wives. Currently, that's where we're at, just so you guys know. One more update today. That's all you get. That's all you get from me. You've gotten a lot of updates today. I finished The Hunting Wives. Let's call pilot together. Let's do that together. I personally vote that it's 1 star. But we'll see what call pile has to say, you know? Cause it could say other things. Hold on. Let me delete the videos that I just put together for this video. Okay, let's call pile this, cause it's bad. I'm just glad I'm done. I'm gonna call pile it and then I'll tell you what I fucking hated about it. Characters, 1. Atmosphere, 2, because it's just a generic Texas southern town. Writing, 2. Plot, 1. Intrigue, 2. Logic, 4. Enjoyment, 1. That's gonna be a 1.86, bringing us to 1 star. What did I say? What did I say, K-Man? I knew it. Yeah, so that was horrible. Our main character ends up getting, so Margot, sleeping with the minor. The minor's girlfriend, Abby, also a minor, is pregnant, ends up dead. That's like supposed to be the, you know, thriller part of this book. Sophie, our main character, gets framed for Abby's murder because they are like, you're obsessed with Margot, so obviously you, killed her. Obviously. For Margot. Sure. Sure. Oh, the hiccups, I'm so sorry. That was stupid. But then she, like, goes off because white women don't really get held when they get accused of murder. Don't be silly. So she, you know, goes and discovers all of these things that she's not supposed to know about, and solves the murder, kind of. Thinks she solved the murder. Goes and finds out who really done it. And Margot gets murdered also. Good riddance, if you ask me. Honestly, spoiler. Spoiler here. The mother of the child that Margot was sleeping with, that's who killed her. That's also who killed Abby, the minor that Brad was also sleeping with and got pregnant. And here's the thing. Killing Margot, I think, is acceptable. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think that's a big deal. I think it's deserved, honestly. She was sleeping with your minor son. So, I mean, you know, that's the last of the books that I have to read with my eyes. I am probably going to listen to The Magicians a little bit longer, but really I need to finish editing, and then I'm going to have to, like, get ready for D&D, so I might not. I would like to, but I might not. So this is going to be the last update you get from me today. Hopefully tomorrow I finish The Magicians, and then the day after that, by Wednesday, I finish Dirty Laundry, and we can call it good. Hopefully. Everyone pray, because I'm tired of doing this. Gang, I'm tired of doing this. I'm having a bad time. Hey, so quick update. So I'm reading The Magicians, right? Listening to it and reading it and kind of doing both. And Quentin cheats on Alice. They're dating. They've graduated, etc. I'm like 80% in. We're so close to the finish line. Quentin cheats on Alice, and he with Janet. And Alice is obviously mad, punches him in the face, and he's like, don't you get it? I was so sad, and blah, 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 and nothing mattered, and blah, 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 I'm an asshole. And that sucked for them. But Quentin was like, they found Fillory, which is Narnia, essentially. And Quentin was like, can't you see we have something more important to worry about than my infidelity, basically? Focus. Cool. Okay. So then they make it to Fillory, and they like have shit they need to be doing. It like they have a quest, there's a war, etc. Things they need to do in Fillory. Okay, cool, awesome, very interesting. Quentin finds out that Alice cheated on him with Penny, and he's like, don't talk to me about anything. You're the worst person in the whole world. I hope you die. You're the worst. Everything is bad. And like, you cheated on Alice first. Mal straight up says it was to get back at you. Quentin, I wish you would die. I wish you would die, or no, I wish you would have magic taken away from you and all quests taken away from you, and for you to live a boring, mundane life that's so terrible that you just off yourself because you're so bored. That's what I hope for this man. I remember now why I rated this so low, because like the world is interesting, the story is interesting. I have some issues with the pacing. You know, before this I was like, Quentin is insufferable. I remember now, it's because Quentin is literally the most misogynistic, abusive, emotionally abusive, I almost said a word I don't normally use to talk about people, but he is a man-child who has life handed to him on a silver platter, and he still goes and fucks it up. And when life decides to fuck him over back, he can't handle it. I wish that man was dead. Okay, sorry about the lighting. It's that time of day. Let's talk about the magicians. I hate Quentin and I hope he dies. I stand by what I just said. Like, I fully stand by what I just said. But I did finish it. So that means we have one more book left and I can be done. I can be released from this hell that I self-inflicted upon myself. And I have time today to actually do that. So that's exciting for me. So let's call-pile this. I actually already call-piled it, sorry. But I'm going to talk it through with you guys. Characters, a 3. Honestly, I would love to give the characters a 7. Because if you take Quentin out of the equation, I actually find all of the other characters very interesting. Not all of them, but a lot of them very interesting. I wish that they were the focus of the book and not Quentin, because I hate that man. But because Quentin is so terrible, it brings a 7 down to a 3. Literally, the other characters are the only reason it's even a 3. Quentin is terrible. The atmosphere, I give an 8. I love this world. I think that this man, this author, would have really flourished in the fan fiction world, and he should have stayed there. The writing, a 7, because again, fan fiction world, he should have stayed there. Then his weird plot pacing would have mattered slightly less, you know, because it would have been shorter. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't read a ton of fan fiction, so maybe I'm like in the wrong for saying this, but that's those are my thoughts on that. Also, next, we have plot. I'm gonna give it an 8 because it is interesting. The pacing of it, fucking weird. But I no longer consider the pacing in this math. I used to consider, like, I used to do call-pile with an extra P for pacing. The pacing in this is the wildest fucking, like, everything happens and also nothing happens and then everything happens, and it's, they, like, go through a whole college, all 4 years. They finish it in, like, the first half of the book. Huh? Anyway, intrigue, 8, because again, this world is very interesting to me. I really enjoy the world. The logic was a 7. There were some things that I have grievances with, some like magic rules and stuff that don't make sense. Why are we living in filth when we can magic our way to do whatever we want? I don't understand. Who are these people who are legally in charge of making sure you follow the rules? I don't understand. And my enjoyment is actually going to be I wrote a 6, but I'm going to be honest, it's going to be a 5. We're going to give it a 5. My enjoyment was a 5. So, again, it would have been higher, but unfortunately, Quentin really made me mad. Like, every time I would start to actually, like, feel like I was settling into the book, like, oh wow, I'm having fun, Quentin would say or do something that would make me go, no, I hate this book, I hate this book, I hate this story, I am not having fun. And so it's a very jarring book to read because the concept, super interesting. I understand why a TV show was made. The character, fucking insufferable. Insufferable little man. Insufferable little man. I want to hit him with a car. Insufferable little man. He has little man syndrome. Like, he's just such a piece of shit. Yeah, I aspire for him to suffer. That's what I aspire for him to do. But I've finished the book. We have one more book. So I am, in fact, going to try to finish Dirty Laundry. Like I said, it's 4 hours long. I think that it's read by Richard Pink. It is probably read by Richard Pink. Oh, and Roxanne. Cool. I'm gonna hate that. I know that for a fact because they come up on my TikTok. Even though I have them blocked, they come up on my TikTok all the time. And I hate listening to them. So I know that's gonna be rough, but we're almost done, gang. We're almost done. Once I think I'll probably update at like 50% on Dirty Laundry, and then when I finish it, I'll update again, and then I will close out this video with like a ranking, like the previous, how I would have originally thought these would be ranked, and then like from worst to most tolerable, or least to most tolerable, and then how I currently rank it, because some things changed. I didn't expect anything to change, and they did. So, right, let's get started. I was gonna update actually 2 seconds into this book, but then I decided I would actually wait until I was 50% in. I'm 50% in. I forgot how much I hate this book. The story starts with Richard Pink talking about how he has to ask his wife if she has a tampon in or not because she will forget. I am not going to comment on that specific scenario because I am not every person. However, the languaging in this book and the way that they talk about ADHD, I have to word this very carefully because I don't want anyone to think that I think ADHD is not a debilitating mental illness. I literally have been having breakdowns until we just recently changed my medication because I was not functioning well off of my meds. I wasn't able to clean, I wasn't able to do, like there were so many things that I wasn't able to do, okay? However, because I lived without an ADHD diagnosis and therefore without ADHD medication, I have a lot of systems in place that help me be able to take care of myself without being fully dependent on my partner to take on the responsibility that is me. I recognize that some people's ADHD is more severe than mine and therefore more difficult to have those types of systems. However, and alternatively, this book is frustrating to me because the ADHDer in this book has a lot of other issues that are not just ADHD. She does not address those. It is very clear that she got the ADHD diagnosis at the time of this book and said, cool, that answers all my questions. I'm done. And she allows herself and accepts herself being infantilized so that she never is required to take care of herself. Cool, ADHD is the reason that I've never been able to take care of myself. I met Richard Pink. Now that we know that this is why I don't know how to take care of myself, I don't have to make the effort to figure that out by myself. He can just do it for me. And I struggle with that because that's not appropriate advice. It's unfair to your partner, it's unfair to the people in your life, and it's unfair to you as a person. It's fine to rely on other people. My husband has to remind me to brush my teeth all the time. But I also write it down, have it in habit trackers, have reminders, because I want to do the due diligence to say, thank you for the reminder, babe. I had all of these other things go off, but I was in the middle of something. That reminder was helpful. Let me go do that. Instead of me going, I completely rely on this reminder and you forgot today, so I didn't brush my teeth because my husband failed to remind me, and therefore I have no systems, no fallbacks, etc. And the blame lies solely on him because he's the one who's responsible for my well-being. That feels inappropriate. And that's how this book feels to me, that it encourages that complete codependency on another person that I just simply do not believe is sustainable or appropriate advice to give to anyone. I don't think it's appropriate to be so severely codependent on other people that your entire well-being, like at that point you need to have a live-in person that you pay, that it is their job, if you can afford it. I recognize there are so many things, so many pieces here, right? But at that point, if you are incapable of taking care of yourself and you've genuinely tried everything, at that point, then I think you need a live-in aid. And I say that with no I say that judgment free. If you need a live-in aid, go off, bestie. You know? I think putting that responsibility on your partner is not fair to your partner. And Richard Pink takes this in stride because to me, he feels like he's boasting about it. Like he's saying, yep, I made my partner so completely codependent on me that she can't go anywhere else, be with anyone else, because she relies on me entirely to be a person who functions in society. Without me, she can't function. That is, and he seems pleased with himself for this. Like, this seems like good advice to him. So it works for them. I don't feel it is appropriate or acceptable advice for everyone else in the world. It feels unkind to do to yourself and to do to your partner. Okay? Like, again, if you are at that point, I think you should seek some kind of outside assistance. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel about it. I think relying on the people around you for free labor, which is what this is not fair. Also, another thing, he refers to, so this book is split into kind of two perspectives. Like, if you have ADHD, this is my personal story and my anecdotes from Roxanne, where she also will list like tips and stuff and also like symptoms and things. She is not a doctor. She has no qualifications to be talking about this topic other than the fact that she has ADHD. It'd be like me putting out a book telling you how to live with ADHD. I'm sure as fuck not doing that. And then the next part of the chapter is from this scenario, this situation that they're talking about from Richard's perspective. Richard goes, this is how you handle your ADHD-er. And it feels like when I'm reading these parenting books, because I am reading parenting books right now, and they're referring to your child, your little one, your infant, your pet dog. Like, that's how it refers to. The languaging here feels like Richard is talking about a child or creature that is completely dependent on him to survive, and that his advice is from that perspective, and that you also should be treating your ADHD-er like a child or pet that completely relies on you to survive. I don't know if I'm going to make it through the rest of this book. I'm going to try. It's not very long, so I'm going to try actually just like download it on my phone and try to finish it up during my lunch break, because I'm on my lunch break now, and I have chores and stuff that I want to do. But I can't. I know this is a long rant, which really sucks. This is one of the last updates that you're going to get of this video. But it's downright painful to me. So yeah, let's see if I can get through it. I'm free. I'm free from the clutches of the bad decisions that I have made. I have, in fact, finished Dirty Laundry. I wanted to note there are, in fact, 2 chapters that I think give solid advice. And that is going to be the financial one and the travel one, travel plans one. Wherein in the travel one, Richard Pink explicitly says, acceptance doesn't necessarily mean saying it's okay that you're late, it's okay that you missed your flight, etc. It's saying, hey, I understand why you did this and I understand why it happened. How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? And I think that should be how we handle a lot of the situations in this book, not just finances and travel. I think a lot of this book should be handled that way. Now, is that just my personal opinion? Yeah, this whole thing is just my personal opinion. The fuck? Yes, maybe there's things I don't know. And I'm sure there are, because I'm not an expert in ADHD, just like these 2 individuals are not experts in ADHD. Okay? They're not. They're just 2 TikTokers who wrote a book. Let's compile this. If you don't know, compile is a little bit different for nonfiction. So instead of characters, we have credibility, which, like I just said, these people they aren't qualified to write a book about this other than it being lived experiences. It's like the person who wrote the Expecting Better book. She is an economist, not a health expert. So take her advice with a grain of salt. Take this advice with a grain of salt. So credibility, I'm going to give 1. Authenticity, I can give a 5 to. It was very authentic to who they are. I'd rate it higher. Actually, yeah, I'll give them an 8 for authenticity. For the way it was written, the formatting of the book is fine. The way that they talk about each other is troubling to me, and so I don't care for it. So I'm going to give it a 3. Personal impact is what the P stands for here, and it's a 1. Because I don't feel like my life has not been improved by reading this. My intrigue is also a 1 for the same reason. Logic is always tricky for me with nonfiction because I feel like logic should inherently be a little high. I'll give it a 3. My enjoyment is a 1. And you know what? I'm gonna lower, because Cowpile is gonna make this a 2-star read, and I don't feel it should be. So I'm gonna lower authenticity so that we maintain that it's a 1-star read. I know that's manipulative of my system here, but unfortunately, I don't think authenticity is reason enough to give it an extra star, and that's what's happening here with the way that things are weighted. So I'm gonna lower that to a 6. So my total here is 2.29, which makes it a 1-star rating. I think I expressed my grievances pretty thoroughly in my last update. Those grievances are all the same grievances I had with this book. Still, it is a short book. Do I recommend it to someone? If you've never heard of ADHD, sure. Do I recommend it to someone who cares about someone who has ADHD? Only if you want to be treated like a pet who cannot take care of themselves. Then definitely recommend it to whoever you want to treat you like a pet who needs someone to remind you to wipe your ass. I'm sorry. I can't with that kind of codependency. It makes me very uncomfortable. I find it very frustrating, and it also opens the door to very clearly abusive relationships. This is not one of them, as far as I know, but it just opens that door, and this kind of advice opens that door. And I struggle with that. So what does that mean? What does it mean, guys? It means we're done. And I can rank these with how I thought this was gonna go to how it did, in fact, go. So let me get all of these rankings up so that I can look. So I thought from least tolerable to most tolerable was going to go like this. The Silent Patient, Dirty Laundry, The Hunting Wives, The Turnout, The Shadow in the Glass, and then The Magicians. Least to most. How it actually went, from least to most tolerable: The Hunting Wives, Dirty Laundry, The Shadow in the Glass, The Turnout, The Silent Patient, and then The Magicians. What I thought was the book I have hated the most since 2019. Actually don't hate it the most. The Hunting Wives is actually my new official book I hate the most in the whole wide world. So congrats to Maycob on that, I guess. This was a miserable experience. If you have any other reading challenges you want me to force myself to go through to do this kind of video, just let me know in the comments down below. I thought it was fun. It was fun. It was interesting to reread some of these and see like if my opinion still held, what my grievance was if I couldn't remember, like with The Silent Patient. I have enjoyed that process. So if you have any ideas for, book challenges for me to put myself through, let me know in the comments down below and I will try and do that. That's gonna be it though. So if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. I post videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every single week except for the first full week of the month because taking breaks is important. So I will see you later on this week. Don't forget to take your meds, drink your water, and do something today to take care of yourselves. Like not reading really bad books that you know are really bad. Okay, thanks, bye.